After attending a township board meeting several years ago, the township supervisor Cameron made the comment he didn't know where I was getting my data from. My data comes from the state of Michigan, the EPA, and the township's own documents themselves. I made this website so that anybody who consumes Plainfield Township water, or any water really, had any questions, they could look and find the data themselves. Here you go. Here's how to use it. Current violation status. If you want to see what Plainfield's municipal water's current status is, just click this link. It takes you to the EPA and pulls up their violation report. Their previous violations and their current violations. They last got a reminder notice in 2023. Their current violation is CCR inadequate reporting. That means your annual water quality report. I emailed the EGLE to find out. They didn't tell people about the lead. And as soon as they do tell people about the lead in the water, the dangers that lead in the water can cause, then they will be back in compliance. Okay, we also see we got North Kent sewer status. We click this, and it pulls up their violations for the sewer. Now you can go through, look at all the pages. And this isn't my sources, this is the state of Michigan. That's what I was trying to make clear to the supervisor. We can go here. This is the EGLE well map. This shows every well in the state of Michigan with the contamination layers. Now on here, what you'll want to do is turn off the well layers at first so you can zoom in, because it does have every single well in the state of Michigan. And we'll get to Plainfield Township, right where we want. There we go. Now over here you'll see it's got regular wells, type 1 wells, and type 2 wells. The municipal wells are going to be the type 2 wells. And when we light these up, you'll see here's your municipal well fields. They're at the gravel pit on either side of Northland Drive. This is the Grand Rapids gravel pit. This is the Coit gravel pit. They share the same vein. Now they claimed the Versluis wells were no longer in use. That is simply not true. All you have to do is click on these dots, and here it'll pull up the well record on this side. We can open up the well record. Oh, it downloaded it, now it opened. There you go. The well is listed as active. The well was first put in 1963. Right there's the date, 1963. It's been active ever since. They've known this well's been polluted. So I'm going to shut that down. Now if we go over here, we got some more layers that we can add. I'm going to turn off, well, I can leave those on. What I want to add is the contamination layers. See these squares and stars? This is the water plant. If we click this, you can see that there's a leaking underground storage tank here. That's actually at the water plant. Good Lord. And then right next to it is a Part 201 contamination site. As you can see listed here. Now I have another way to pull up this Part 201 site I'm going to show you, and that's to use Google Earth. So we're going to open up Google Earth here. Let's type in Versluis. It's going to zoom us into Versluis Park. And there we go. We're zooming in, zooming in. And what I want to turn on here is the Part 201 contamination layers. On my website, you can download these yourself. But when we put these in, we see that the actual water plant, the water plant's address is 5220, but we see that the water plant itself is a Part 201 hazardous waste contamination site, and it's listing plating waste including lead and PFAS and other chrome plating constituents. This over here is where they're proposing their new well field, which is also yet another Part 201 site. This one is mercury and other metals. Doesn't list PFAS, but it lists mercury. This is where they're proposing to put the new wells. A Part 201 site is exactly what the House Street dump is, that supposedly made the news and was all the big problem. But your own water plant is a Part 201 site. Sometimes they talk on the news about building homes on contaminated sites. Look here. This is another contaminated site. This right here is the Superfund. This is what's listed as contaminating the township wells. Is this site right here. This is the State Disposal EPA National Priority Listed Superfund. This is listed as contaminating the wells, which are a straight line from here, to here. Here's one set of wells. Here's the other set of wells. This is the set that was first identified contaminated, which is further than the one straight ahead. But let's get back here a sec. This is brand new houses, 750,000, some of them. But they are a contamination site. Do these people even know? How did they get ponds built here? What's going on? Now, Google Earth, a lot of people might not know this, lets you do something kind of neat. If you go up here, you can click historical imagery. And this is time traveling in a sense. It lets you go back and see what it looked like as satellites passed. So let's scroll back to the beginning, see what we first got, and see what they've been doing here. This here is the lagoon. This is where all the liquid waste was deposited. This is the sludge lagoon. The year of this photo is 1999. And this is the lagoon. Look what they did to it. Just keep your eye on it. Pan through. It's still there. You can see it pretty good. They started building on the Superfund site. As we go here, you can see now they're supposedly remediating the Superfund. This is supposed to be all 2 feet of clay. But as you can see by the color, it's not consistent. And we've been to the site and there's not clay throughout at all. But right there, they filled in the lagoon just with sand. Nothing else. That's pure sand. Let's go back one. There it is. Lagoon. Simply filled it in with sand. And they've been building houses ever since. This site is listed under investigation still. It's been under investigation for over 40 years now. This is listed as contaminating the township wells. And they haven't done a thing about it. It's literally still, they've allowed Waste Management to conduct their own investigation. Okay, let's go back to the site and see what else we can find. Here's the EPA sewer violation map. This is all current data. This is as current as they post. Here we can zoom in. They talk about Grand Rapids. Black dots on here. Here's your legend, how to use the map. Black dots exceed. This is missing, but here. We can go in. We can see Grand Rapids does have a black dot. Let's look, see what their percentage is. 29 is what they were discharging in Grand Rapids that got them the exceeds. 29. The legal limit for drinking water is 4 parts per trillion. Here's North Kent Sewer. Let's give that a click. Their last recording was 450 before they stopped reporting. 450. That's over 100 times the legal limit in drinking water. But nobody's talking about it. Why? Some other things we can see on the map. This is just the Part 201 contamination map if you want to access it this way. Instead of using the Google Earth method, this will pull up just the 201 contamination layers. And here we are. These dots are the 201 contamination sites. So you can click on it this way and verify that the water plant is a 201 site. Let's see, what other ones do I have here. Here's the National Priority Superfund interactive site. This is if you want to find Superfund information. You can pull up data on our Superfund. So we will zoom in on Grand Rapids and kind of show you what that pulls up. Right there it is, the big diamond. And it was proposed in 1988, was listed in 1990. And there's your site ID. And we can get, there's your hazard ranking is 42.24, which is pretty darn high. It was the second highest in the state. And as you can see though, you have all these different maps that you can use. And some research resources that I have would include the national priority list. If you want to pull up the Superfund this way, you click on the state, which is Michigan. The name of ours is the State Disposal Superfund site. And let's go, here we'll just go to the drop down this way. Michigan. Scroll down to State Disposal. There we go, Grand. We pull up the narrative right here. And we'll zoom in a little bit for you. Here you can see what's actually in your wells. You should be more concerned, in my opinion, about the trichloroethylene, the dichloroethane, the xylene, the other organic compounds that have been known about in your water that you haven't been told about since 1983. Here it lists it, that it was found in the municipal wells, and they estimated 13,000 people were drinking from the municipal wells, but we know that that's 13,000 water bills they sent out, so the number of actual people is much, much higher. Waste Management has been allowed to investigate their own site for the last 40 plus years. And most people have no idea that the landfill's been contaminating the wells. Some of the other research resources, here's the EPA final rule. This shows that indeed the limit is 4 parts per trillion for PFOS in drinking water. It's enforceable. That's the enforceable level, 4. Here's the detailed facility report for Plainfield Township. If you want to know month to month how long they've been in violation of the Safe Water Drinking Act, we can pull up this one. We'll go click on monthly. We'll scroll down. It says they're currently in violation. Pull down here. And they've been in violation since July of last year to present. The current months are reported. So it's almost been a solid year that they've been in violation. Yet the news has told you nothing. There's all kinds of great resources here. This is for wells. This is if you want to search EPA publications. The EPA Enforcement and Compliance database is here. Now here you can also see, I've got down here on the bottom, Plainfield Township Water Quality Reports, also known as CCRs. If you click on this, it will take you directly to all of the water quality reports from the township. Now one of my favorite ones is right here. It says Plainfield Township Document Repository. If you click on this, this is where all of the township minutes are. And what you need to do, well, you don't need to, but what I did was I went through and I downloaded every single township minute, all of them. And then once you have them all downloaded, you can do something kind of neat. You can use Adobe Acrobat, the free version at that. Let's close this well record. We can use Adobe Acrobat, and then we can keyword search all of the minutes for anything we want. Let's try the word plating. So now we're going to search all of the minutes for the word plating and see what we get. for those that don't know, PFAS is actually the safety chemical used in chrome plating. You can think of it like the rotten egg smell put in natural gas to alert you of the natural gas leak, so you smell the rotten eggs. PFAS, though, is the safety chemical that's used in chrome plating to provide a foam blanket on top of their hexavalent chrome tanks. Keep the employees and the neighbors from breathing it in. Alright, here we go. On the left, let's take a peek at this one, 1971. It brings us right to the minutes that mention the word plating, and here we see Gerald C. Van Dellen brought to the board's attention the fact that the Northeast Gravel Company has built lagoons and steel-plated trucks are hauling in acid and chrome plating waste 7 days a week and 24 hours a day. The trucks are continually coming in. A meeting with Chet Harvey, who was the Department of Natural Resources manager for the water resources, he was the one who authorized this dumping of the PFAS. It was the DNR authorized it. I have a feeling that's why nobody's talking about this area. But and let's take a look at another one. See what's really going on here. We got plating here. Okay, it says the board recognized influential. So let's highlight this for a second and zoom this in just a little bit. See what we got. 1977. The board then recognized various interested parties in the audience who had come to discuss industrial sludge dumping at the 10 Mile Road landfill. Among the interested parties were Mr. McKenna from Master Finishing, Mr. Duttmers from Grand Rapids Bright Metals, Mr. Workman of Keeler Brass, Mr. Beiner of the City of Grand Rapids, Mr. Zania, City Manager of Grand Rapids, Miss Brooks and Mr. Warwick, Grand Rapids City Commissioners, Mr. Broersma, Kent County Commissioner, Mr. Ehlers, and Mr. Scott of the Kent County Department of Public Works. It's basically the heads of all the chrome plating companies came to the township. The city and county officials throughout the discussion reiterated concern over the economic crisis being experienced by local plating companies due to the closing of the Fenske landfill. They feel the plating companies in and around Grand Rapids need a permanent, temporary site in the area to dump their sludge. During this crisis, the board questioned the toxicity of such materials, the county's definition of temporary use, and reminded the county that the conditions as set forth in the landfill contract do not allow for this type of dumping. The city and county officials stated that the contract prohibits the dumping of hazardous waste and feel the sludge from the metal plating companies does not come under this category. The consensus of the officials was that the DNR has already given verbal approval that they do not foresee any environmental problems, and the county would like approval immediately. That's where your PFAS came from, folks. And who was responsible? It was our township let it happen. The county, the state, they wanted to avert putting people out of work. They can't shut down the plating companies. But being able to keyword search the minutes for anything you can think of is tremendously powerful. We can look up chrome. How do we know that our PFAS issue is from chrome plating and not from Wolverine? Well, let's look up chrome once. See what we got here. First thing we have is a representative. Here, let me highlight it so you can see what I'm talking about. Representatives. This was 1980. Representatives of Wolverine Worldwide came, and they explained to the township that tanning uses trivalent chrome, not hexavalent chrome, which is totally true. And if you look in what's found at the wells around, or if you look at what's in the wells near House Street and all that, you're going to find hexavalent chrome, which is not used in the tanning process. Hexavalent chrome is used in the plating process. Wolverine is dead right here. They use trivalent, plating uses hexavalent. They're not the same. That's how you can tell what's in the well, where it comes from. I don't know why news wouldn't report anything on the plating, but they seem to totally be ignoring it. What else can we see on here? History. This is really nice. Even if you're not looking for water issues and you just want to learn more about Plainfield Township history, I have the reference resources from 1838 to 1988, the full story of Plainfield Township. This is the only other way to read this is to go down to the library. It does not leave the library. So if you or your kids are doing a report, it's a great source for research. You know, I got all the information here for you. These are my tools. I got the free Adobe Acrobat Reader, so if you do want a keyword search, you can download this here. Just, I say, uncheck the McAfee add-on so you don't get stuck with the bloatware, I call it. You don't want that. Just when on the download link, click uncheck it. Here you can get Google Earth for Pro for free. This is the newspaper search. This is newspapers.com. It lets you keyword search all the newspaper articles in the United States. It does require a subscription though. And if we go to where does my water come from, I kind of walk people through it. Basically, the township has told the public that the water comes from the Grand Rapids gravel pit, Quick gravel pit. They say their engineers claim it's beautiful right here. And then at the end they say, the water is good, but does not meet health department requirements. That was in 1981. Here I've got a zoomed in shot of the water plant showing. Now on all these you can click them, and if you want to download the document, it's pulling it up right now, so you can get a better look yourself. Just go up here and click this little download link, and then you'll be able to have it on your computer zoomed in. I did that for you guys to make it a little easier. Here I zoomed in. These are the contaminants at the water plant. It's lead and other substances. But yeah, lead. And that's what they're in violation for, is not telling people about the dangers of lead in their water. And that's what's at the water plant, is lead. This is their new well site. The contaminants at the new well site. This is a restrictive covenant for the Versluis well field. You're not even allowed to construct any water supply, yet this is where all the township wells are. This is at the Grand Rapids gravel pit, which is aka the Versluis well field. Yeah, nobody's even allowed to construct any water supply there. Yeah, ours are still active. Now this is a major issue. Rick Snyder appointed Prina Newhoff, Dan Sorek to the Advisory Board of Examiners. Rick Snyder is the one who got charged for the Flint water crisis. He was the governor that was charged. Prina Newhoff are the ones that engineered our water system to use an existing landfill to recharge the water supply. No joke. The landfill was called the Dothit landfill. Dothit got the exclusive contract to be the only garbage hauler in Plainfield Township in 1957. The Plainfield Township water plant wasn't built till 1963, and Dothit was the first water plant superintendent. Now, what is this big deal about the MDEQ Advisory Board of Examiners? Well, this is what the Advisory Board of Examiners does. They are the ones that hold the hearing to consider to suspend or revoke a municipal plant's operator certificate. So they would be their own judge to decide if they're the ones to suspend or revoke their own water plant certificate. And here's the other thing. Prina Newhoff, here's their PFAS result. It's not no detect. I don't know why the news keeps telling you guys this. Well, Prina Newhoff, who engineered the plant, they're also the ones that are doing their own testing. So your results are coming from them. And whether or not they're being truthful and honest, that's up to you guys to decide. But as you can see, CH here, that is your raw water. TP stands for treatment plant water. The last result you can see is not non-detect right here. And here's the date. March 6, 2024, you got a hit. The legal limit's 4. So why is the news telling you guys non-detect? That's BS. They're blowing smoke up your rumps, and you guys are. I shouldn't say that. They're blowing smoke up people's rumps. Here you go. Here's your Fox News.
PFAS exposure is a big worry in Plainfield Township. Currently, their water system filters out all traces of the chemical, but some residents are anxious that might no longer be true when 2 new wells are added.
As you can see, it's complete BS. He's standing at the 201 contamination site. You just saw that they're not non-detect, that they are not filtering out all traces. Now, early on, when you saw the plating minutes, they blamed the Fenske landfill for being the reason they needed a dump in Plainfield Township. The owner of the landfill, Doug Fenske, he wrote an autobiography. In his autobiography, he tells about how Preen and Newhoff invested $200,000 apiece to start the Coopersville landfill. So Preen and Newhoff sold that landfill for stock and waste management. It's all in the autobiography. I can't just show it to you because you're not allowed to reproduce the pages, but this is the book. It's $10. You can get it on Kindle. People should really read this, and you will learn a lot. But here you go, Preen and Newhoff. Letter from the Kent County Health Department, 1971. It was really called the Dothet landfill. And this is a meeting with Preen and Newhoff up here. You're meeting in the office with Preen and Newhoff, 1971, Kent County Health Department. They told the health department the landfill area is on generally sandy ground at an average elevation of 150 feet or more above the Grand River. The area contains many depressions without outlet where the water percolates into the soil. It is this percolation which we feel provides the recharge for the township wells. That's where your water comes from. That EPA listed national priority list. And it's got a lot more in it than just PFAS. It's an entire landfill full of hazardous waste. The state of Michigan responded, and here we'll pull up theirs, and you can download these right from the site, so you can check this out for yourself. The state of Michigan Department of Public Health tells Preen and Newhoff in the township, contamination of the water supply is indicated to be merely a question of time. Landfill construction and operation practices, do minimize the problem. And then they're telling, degradation of the water quality from hazardous waste which may be present in a landfill cannot be compensated / filtered is another word for compensate for in the water treatment process. So they know they can't filter for it. And then finally they say hazardous waste and concentrations of waste in general simply do not belong in the recharge area of a public water supply. Especially ones that are in gravel pits below the landfill. That's where your water still comes from today. Just Waste Management has been investigating it this was in 1973. So 51 years now they've known your water is contaminated. And they don't tell you. Nothing. But that's just a few things you can see on the site. There's a lot more. You can scroll down. I've got a lot more documents here. If we go back to the home page, we can scroll down here. I've got timelines you can go through. A lot of people don't know what happened. Originally, Plainfield Municipal Water came from natural springs. There were 5 independent co-ops that provided the water. Preen and Newhoff worked for another engineering firm. They actually come to us from Williams and Works. And Williams and Works had the state of Michigan shut down all the spring-fed water systems because they weren't willing to put bleach in their water. And it comes from a natural spring. Why should they have to put bleach in it? I understand it. This is 1957. This was 6 years before the water plant was built. Dothet secured exclusive right to collect garbage in Plainfield Township for his Beltline landfill. Walker came, they considered a municipal water system, and Plainfield says, whoa, you ain't going to get the water system, we're going to build it. And they Plainfield did. They built it and used the dump to recharge it. This is the letter of Plainfield engineers to shut down the private natural springs. Dothick went from running the landfill to, indeed, the first water superintendent. I'm not kidding, 1963. Plainfield used the same bonding company to sell their water bonds that were involved in the Grand Rapids water bond scandal. That bond company was Stranahan and Harris, which was indicted in the Grand Rapids scandal along with many Grand Rapids officials. McKay was charged in that water pipeline bond scandal. And there's just a lot more here. This is Williams. Williams and Works was the boss of Ed Preen and Tom Newhoff when they built the water plant. They were at the heart of the Grand Rapids water scandal going back 100 years now. Same firm, same company. It's the same thing, same song and dance over and over. Just people don't either remember or don't learn, or I don't know. But as you can see, scroll through here, here's Nick Fink fighting to continue to provide natural spring water, and basically saying he doesn't want to add bleach to it. It comes from a natural spring. But yeah, take a peek. This is the site. I'm not fabricating the data. The data comes from the state of Michigan, the EPA, and the township's own documents. And occasionally I use newspaper stories that I find. That's it. That's where everything comes from.